Alright guys, so today we're going to be going over profile confirmations, right? So essentially GxT just kind of piggybacking off of last streams, so swing confirmations. Now we're going to talk about how to apply that, but with profiling. So let's get into it, right? So first let's have a quick refresher on GxT sequence. So this would be the GxT continuation sequence where within the previous higher time frame candle, we put in a lower time frame reversal, so a lower time frame swing point, where this next candle is opening up basically within that swing point. So it's opening up within a candle 3 or candle 4. So if the previous candle reversed, then what should this next candle do? It should just open up, right? It's opening up within a reversal. It should just continue, right? So this is GxT continuation sequence. Right, this is GxT reversal. It's essentially, it doesn't matter if it's a reversal candle on the higher time frame or an expansion candle on the higher time frame. It's simply when the low of a candle is formed from a lower time frame swing formation. So here's the opening price of this candle. As you see, it opens low first, creates the low from a lower time frame swing formation, right? That's our confirmation to confirm the low of the higher time frame candle. And now we are aligning the higher time frame candle with the lower time frame candle that we're trading in the same direction, right? Here's an example of the previous candle higher time frame reversing, but we are not opening up within a lower time frame swing formation, so we have to just wait for a swing formation to form, right? And that would confirm the low of this higher time or this higher time frame expansion candle. So now let's get into GxT aligned. This is simply when the candle has already expanded and there's still open draws and liquidity. So you're still expecting this expansion candle to form, right? So we can say this is a daily candle, a 4-hour candle or something like that, right? If we want to see continuation within it, we look back within the current candle's range for a key level, right? And we want to see a swing formation form, right, for basically just expansion again, right? Because at this point where the market is retracing, so we can pretend this is the hourly 30-minute time frame, this is the 4-hour. These 2 hourly candles here, or 30-minute candles, are not aligned bullish, right? So we're just waiting for a swing formation to realign itself with the expansion candle that it is currently within, right? So now you're just waiting for that realignment on that lower time frame, and now you are aligning the higher time frame expansion candle with the lower time frame expansion candle. So now let's get into that logic of doing what we just discussed, right? But with certain alignment, right? So this is daily or weekly daily alignment. This would be the continuation sequence where within that previous week, Friday manipulates and Monday is opening up within that. So you guys have seen this before where Friday manipulates. So what should Monday do, right? It should just expand, right? Because if Friday manipulates, then we want to see expansion away from that manipulation. So it would happen early on in the week. The expansion wouldn't happen Wednesday. It wouldn't happen Thursday, right? It should happen almost immediately, right? So this is that continuation sequence going from weekly to daily. Here is where the low of the week is formed from a daily swing formation. Pretty simple. And this is the aligned version where the daily or the weekly candle expands away from the opening price. So it is already aligned bullish. Let's say, we have a one day of the week, maybe retraces something, right, into maybe a key level within the previous week's range. That forms a swing formation. At this point, Thursday is not aligned bullish. So now you have a bearish daily candle and a bullish weekly candle, but the closure signifies and realigns ourselves with a bullish bias, basically, right? So Friday, we can expect to expand, realigning itself with the weekly candle. So now we're going to do the same thing, but with the daily 4-hour. So the continuation here is essentially, this can be a couple of things where either late in the day, the previous day reverses, or maybe the previous day reverses, kind of like today, right? We literally saw that late in the day, ES manipulates, right? Puts in a PSP. So then Asia session should expand, right? Because if the previous day manipulated, right, late in the day, but it didn't reverse, then early on in the next day should expand. So a lot of times Asia can definitely be high and low today, right? That is absolute thing. I think AM has like a statistic. It's something crazy. It's like 40% or something where on indices, that's literally the low of day is Asia. So you really have to understand that Asia can definitely be high and low today. This can also be in continuation, right? Where we just open the day and we just expand away. So you're just essentially trading basically hourly or 4-hour expansion candles, right? Aligned with the current daily candle, right? So this is an example of that. This is an example of, what we ideally want to see, where the daily opens low first. Within that protraction phase, protraction just means creating a daily wick. So underneath the opening price, the low of the day is created from a 4-hour swing point, right? And that would obviously confirm that higher time frame expansion candle, and we can trade the lower time frame being the 4-hour, right, in alignment with that daily candle. This is an example of we just expand away from the daily open, right? And then later on in the day, right, positioned above the daily open, we print a swing point, right? Then we can trade that next candle higher, right? Because at this point, this is not aligned with the daily candle, right? We have to wait for that closure. Now it is aligned. We can trade that continuation. Now, this is just simple GxT, right? 4-hour, 1-hour, 30-minute, profiling a 4-hour candle with 1-hour and 30-minute swing formations. So here we are, the continuation version, where the previous 4-hour candle manipulates that next 4-hour candle, is opening up within that lower time frame reversal, and it just continues. Here's an example of a 4-hour candle, high and low, formed from a swing formation on the 1-hour and 30-minute time frame. And this is the aligned version, right? So this is what I took on gold today, right? The 4-hour candle expanded away, creating a fair value gap. So at this point, the 4-hour candle is already aligned, but when it retraces, right, it's not aligned. So then I want to, confirm that continuation within that expansion candle with the swing formation. So now let's get into weekly profile confirmations. So now we're applying what we did last week, right? So we don't just use swing formations. We want to ideally see precision swing points, SMT with swing points, right? 2-stage PSPs. Ideally, that's what we want to confirm swing points with, right? Now, it's not something you have to do, but it's ideal, right? This is what I'm always looking for. So how do we apply that same logic, right? Profiling a lower time frame swing with a higher time frame expansion candle. We just confirming that lower time frame swing with PSPs and SMTs, right? So here is a weekly candle. The low is formed from a PSP, right? A daily precision swing point. And here, over here, we have the low of the week formed from an SMT between swing points. Now, applying that same logic both in a daily profile, being an Asia reversal, this is kind of just covering for New York traders, right? Because if I come into the charts and Asia is like high of the day or something, right? Or low of the day, I'm just trading an expansion candle on the 4-hour away from that reversal, right? So here are the different types of scenarios. You're either going to just be trading a 4-hour expansion candle, right? So if you look at NQ today, that's exactly what we're doing, right? We're just trading a 4-hour expansion candle. The daily's already aligned. We're just trading continuation. So you want to look for a key level within that previous 4-hour range. So we'll use today's example when we go over examples for this specific scenario here. This is also another one, right, where the daily expands away from the opening price. That expansion away creates a fair value gap, right? So if this is going to be low of day, then this fair value gap can be used for continuation, right? So this is when that next 4-hour candle might retrace into that gap, right, creating a, basically misaligning itself with the daily, because this does not support bullishness. But when it closes, right, maybe it gives us a PSP, that'd be ideal, and then we can trade that 10 AM continuation, right? Here is another scenario. This is kind of like today as well, right? We're just trading continuation, daily continuation. We have SMT between swing points on the 4-hour chart, right? So now here's daily profile confirmations with the London reversal, right? So this is kind of grading the probabilities. So here you have a reversal into expansion candle, right, with no SMT. So obviously it's least probable. I'm not saying you can't use it, right? But it's just the least probable, right? The next probable scenario would be an SMT between candle 1 and candle 2, where you're just trading this 4-hour expansion candle. And the highest probable would be a 2-stage PSP forming the low of day, right? So here is a New York continuation, 6 AM New York continuation, where within London session, we create SMT between candle 1 and candle 2. So you're just trading that candle 3 higher. Joey! Goddamn. Or 2 a.m. puts in a PSP, right? That would be pretty much equivalent to these. They're both graded kind of the same. I would say PSP is a little bit higher probability. And then we have a 2-stage PSP. This is obviously the highest probability. Right now, this is 10 a.m. 4-hour continuation. It's essentially the same thing, where either you have that sequence, either one of these sequences, whether 2 a.m. is a PSP, 2-stage PSP, or SMT, and you're just trading 10 a.m. continuation away from that, or 6 a.m. does one of those three things, right? We either have a PSP with a 6 a.m. candle, or a 2-stage PSP, right? Or just SMT, it doesn't matter. Right, here is a 6 a.m. reversal candle, just like London. If there is no SMT here, it's just less probable, right? If there is SMT, it's obviously favorable. This is like today, pretty much, within the continuation, or a 2-stage PSP rate is the highest probable New York reversal. Here is 10 a.m. New York reversal, right? Same thing, right? If there's no SMT here, it's not very high probable, but you can still trade it. You would just be pretty much confirming the low of this candle with 1 hour and 30-minute sequences, right? Here is an example of a New York reversal with SMT between the previous 4-hour candle, and then obviously a 2-stage PSP. Jesus Christ, so fucking annoying. All right, how do we profile a 4-hour candle? Sorry about that. It's basically just a 1 hour and 30-minute swing point, right? Where you either have SMT between candle 1 and candle 2, or candle 2, candle 3, right? Or a persistent swing point, ideally a 2-stage PSP, right? Now that would be a expansion candle, right? Whether that's a reversal candle, reversal into expansion candle, or just an expansion candle, right? Or you open up a 4-hour candle within one of these sequences, right? So either you're opening up that candle, right? It's going to be always a candle 3 or candle 4, where the previous candle has an SMT between candle 1 and candle 2, or you have the low of that formed from SMT between candle 2 and candle 3, right? Or you open up within a swing where that swing is created from a PSP, right? And this is all we're going to cover today. Let's go into some examples. All right, where the heck? How do I exit this? Oh, yeah. Now let's get into some examples. So this is my trade today. Going over the gold triad here. So if you look, what is that weekly candle? Wait, the weekly opens here. What is the low of the week formed from? Right, a 2-stage PSP between the gold triad, right? So again, profiling a weekly candle with a daily swing confirmation, right, or sequence, right? So this is why, right, I traded this day higher, right, and then I'm just trading New York continuation, or what the hell? I'm just trading continuation this day, because when I go into the lower time frame, the profile, right, so first of all, here's the previous day's range, right? We're above EQ, have that small wick. The candle profile itself supports a bullish day where it opens low first, as you see, opens low first, and then it is confirmed by a 2-stage 4-hour PSP. So do you see how we're doing the same thing on the weekly and daily, right, alignment with the 4-hour and daily alignment, right? We're doing the same thing here. When I drop lower, you have an SMT between this candle's low. So let's mark out that 6 a.m. candle. So the 6 a.m. candle is formed from what? A lower time frame swing, but not just any swing, right? An SMT between candle 1 and candle 2. So if we reverse, right, prior to the driver being 8 o'clock, then what should the driver do? It should expand away, right? So here is 8:30, immediately expanding away. Once you get that confirmation, you're all good to go. And then I can hold that runner right past these highs and into the draw liquidity. The reason why I can hold this runner higher, because if we actually look at the other assets, right, they're actually leading gold. They actually had this draw liquidity here, right? And then even potentially here, right? If I go here, this is really clear on GBP. So that's why I can hold this trade. And obviously at this point, we would expect gold to also reach this, but just not today, right? Now if we go to my other trade today, it was actually a 10 a.m. continuation because we saw some strength switching going on. So if I remove all of this here, this 4-hour candle, I did not trade the open of it because right, it is not opening up within a swing formation. But as you see, it expands away from the low of the candle, or the opening price, I mean. And what do we create here? Is a continuation PSP, right, above the opening price. So if I go to Euro, for example, we have a cracking correlation between 10 a.m. and 10:30, where on this asset, the low of 10 a.m. is formed from a swing sequence, right? So here is a two-stage PSP. Why? Because 10:30 is a bearish candle, and it takes out the previous candle, right, forming a candle 2. So you have a PSP with SMT between candle 1 and candle 2, also in a gap, so you have SMT with a gap. So here's that cracking correlation right there. So now I can trade this next candle higher, because at this point, what you have actually is Euro already hit this draw liquidity over here, and GBP is about to, or just did, right? So now what you're seeing is strength switching, right? This asset is expanding while the other ones are either retracing into a gap or consolidating, right? So that is asset resync, right? So as you see, play price forward. I think I entered in 3-minute actually. There's a gap right here that this new 30-minute candle is opening up within. And that's my entry essentially, right? So if you look here, here's 11 o'clock. It's right here. That hourly candle. If we have SMT within the previous hourly candle, and we've already expanded away, right? And we have a gap here. This is the only area for that hourly low to form from. So that's your entry. It's like a positional entry. I can put my stop loss there. Since we're so high in the range, I can just go for 2R to hit my trading day. And it's as simple as that, right? Does that make sense, everyone? On the first example. Sorry about my dogs, by the way. They just yap, bro. Like, it's actually so annoying. A trainer. Dude, I have 5 dogs, by the way. 2 of them are puppies. Anyways, so that's gold today and this week. Now let's get into today on indices, right? So I already went over this with you guys pre-recording. I did not record it, but let's go over it again in simple terms here. So what is the high of the day formed from at this point? It is formed from a 4-hour reversal candle, right? But it's not just any 4-hour reversal candle. It's a 2-stage PSP, right? So when we look at, these other assets being in Q, what do we have here? Right, that's your 2-stage PSP. Now, what forms the high of this candle here? So if you guys took this, really good trade. Really, really good trade. 10 a.m. Wait, is this 10 a.m.? No, 6 a.m. 6 a.m., 6 a.m. All right. So if you look back within the previous 4-hour range, if we want to see continuation, where first off we have SMT there, yeah, but we want to see a key level to trade away from as well, ideally. So back within that previous 4-hour candle range, we have a gap. or a swing point, right? So basically expand, consolidates within the first 2 hours of this candle, right? So if I go to here, you hear my dogs yapping again. If I go to here within that 6 a.m. candle, that's not it, huh? Where is it, bro? So many fucking, I have so many slides, bro. Here it is. Within that 6 a.m. candle, we do not care about 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. They're irrelevant, right? Typically, they are accumulation. And then the 8 o'clock hourly candle, or that just hour in general, 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock are going to be reversal or continuation. So as you see, because of the drivers. So if I go to NQ here, you see that this is the 6 o'clock candle, this is the 7 o'clock candle. It just consolidates, right? Specifically because we expanded prior, right? So we want 8 o'clock. If we want to continue, we want 8 o'clock go and manipulate. So it goes and manipulates, as you see. So that's when we will see 9 o'clock distribute. So 8:30 manipulation, 9:30 continuation. And what is the high of this 6 a.m. candle formed from? A 2-stage PSP. Because you have a cracking correlation between candle 1 and candle 2, or it's technically, yeah, on YM it's a cracking correlation within that, but as you see, where is it? It's right here. Right, this candle is bullish, this candle is bearish, right? And then if you print that before a driver, if you print a reversal before the driver, what should we do? We should just continue, right? And at that point, that's when YM, right, was not budging. They were expanding in opposite directions. YM just wants to go and manipulate essentially. As soon as it manipulates, this is when we can trade this asset as a lagging asset. Why can we do that? Because NQ fails to manipulate this low, and it has objectives to continue towards. That's why you can trade this asset as a lagging asset into the low-hanging fruit objectives that NQ failed to manipulate. Dude, these dogs are crazy. Oh my god. Okay. So here, right, the high of the day. Let's go and pull up the daily candle at this point. Look at the wick size. That's all we care about, right? The wick size. Previous day, right, creates SMT here. Has a nice closure. We want to see continuation. It's a delayed protraction profile. We have that small wick, right? But at this point, you can't trade 6 a.m. lower because of the large wick, right? It doesn't really support expansion lower. So you just wait for 10 a.m., right? So now 10 a.m. is realigned with the already existing daily expansion candle. So we have the PSP, right? But we're also opening up within a swing point, a 2-stage PSP, right? This candle over here is bullish. It's actually on the 30-minute, I believe. Yeah. This candle at 9 o'clock is bullish. We already marked that out on NQ. And then, right, it sweeps off that candle's high just to get to this high, essentially, to manipulate the current high of day. This is the relevant level because it is the current high of day. And then, right, that's putting in a nice closure. So when we go to the lower time frame, we see that V-shaped signature. Here's 9:30. So what do we anticipate the 10 a.m. high to form from? This range, right? We want to see the 10 a.m. candle open high and then expand towards these lows. So that's why I put my limit here. More like this, but yeah. And so I've taken a partial here around 2R, and I'm leaving a runner to these lows. And as you see, price retraces, right? And then it just continues, right? At this point, I trailed my stop loss a little too aggressively. So I got trailed out of that. So it was like a partial win for me. But it was a really good trade, really, really easy trade as well. Just the delivery wasn't bad. Like, delivery's not bad, just my stop loss. It just retraced really high in the range. It's because it's the strongest asset in the triad. So it's going to make these deeper retracements compared to the other assets. But yeah, we had a really nice draw on liquidity. Really nice trade. Does that make sense how we're profiling a higher time frame candle with lower time frame swing formations? When you have a 2-stage PSP, which should we trade? Well, you ideally want to trade always, if you're bearish, you want to trade the asset that is creating that failure swing, right? So you want to trade this asset ideally, right? Because it's creating a failure swing. But here I'm trading a lagging asset with the right context, right? So you can trade the lagging asset, but you need to see things from the other assets. So I need context because when I look at NQ, clearly it failed to manipulate this low. So if it does that, then I can assume that YM should catch up to it, essentially break that SMT. I think I have another example here. Let's go to RB. Let's go to that weekly candle. So you see the previous week expanded. So if we're going to get a retracement or a reversal back within the weekly range, when would we do that? We're going to do that early on in the week because the only thing to reverse from, if we're going to reverse back in this range, is the previous week's high, and we're opening near it. So therefore, we have to reverse from that level early on in the week, right? So if you look here, Monday reverses, basically, as you see. So we would expect the next couple of days to either retrace back in this range, reverse here to continue higher, right? Or just, make a deeper run, right? So ideally, if you want an expansion candle, you don't want to see this deep run. You see this deep run? That's why today is just kind of like a reversal week where it's almost like consolidation in a way. Where it's like opening high, opening low, and then retracing really deep back in the range and then closing here. It doesn't really go anywhere necessarily, but we can anticipate at least some type of move back in the range. Here's why. So look here. So all these lows are really far away, so they're typically not going to get hit in the same week. So this is when you can expect this next day here at least, because this day did not reverse. Yeah, it's a reversal candle, but when I go and look back within that range, it's just consolidation, right? So that would be pattern trading a reversal candle. So that's why you see this low get ran. So at this point, you pretty much just have a relevant low. If I look here, you have a relevant low within this range. EQ of the range, you see the spaced out lows. So when this gets taken and you have an SMT and the profile supports it, we can expect some sort of move back within this range. So just trading range to range, right? So basically just going from some form of external manipulation of the previous low back into internal or back within the weekly range. That's kind of our logic for this bullish day that I traded yesterday. So when I got the 4-hour time frame, look what we have here is a two-stage PSP. So you have SMT with the previous low itself, right? And then you also have a two-stage PSP, right? This 6 a.m. candle, if I go on, I think it was CL, 6 a.m. candle. Maybe it was GBP. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's that bullish candle, right? As you see there. And we run out this candle's low, creating a two-stage SMT. It's also a strength switch. Right, because this low right here at 10 a.m. gets taken out right here, or it's this low that gets taken out, right? Or where is it? 10 a.m. I have to find it. Oh yeah, it is this low, sorry. So here's 10 a.m. low. There's that two-stage SMT. So why am I going to pick the asset? Why am I going to pick the asset that actually runs out the low? Because it's showing strength after we manipulate, right? So that's asset synchronization, where the asset that runs out the low is actually going to pick up strength, right, over the asset that did not run the low. So essentially you have CL retracing deeper in the range while this asset expands, right? We actually see that on the daily time frame on the indices chart. So here, as you see, this is my draw liquidity actually. Dude, these dogs are just annoying. But what forms the low of this 10 a.m. candle? Is a two-stage PSP, right? This 10 a.m. candle is bullish. Over here, it's bearish. Over here, it's bearish. We run out that candle's low, as you see. On this asset, we do not. So all I have to do, go to lower time frame. Here's that SMT. These are the opposing candles that created the SMT. And that's my entry there. It was pretty ugly. It was pretty ugly for a while. But as you see, it worked out, right? And we have a really nice draw liquidity, bunch of failure swings to target. And yeah, that's just going from a daily profile, right? Look at the daily opening low first. We're trading a 4-hour reversal sequence, right? Where we're trading a 4-hour expansion candle away from the current low of day. And then we're confirming that candle with the 2-stage PSP sequence, right? So now let's go into this previous day as well. I believe this is Tuesday, so remember we had Monday manipulation on the daily time frame. So what can you expect this day to do? Expand into these failure swings or this fair value gap, right? So now let's go into here. So this would be the GxT aligned sequence where the candle opens up and it just expands away. So at this point, now you're just trading continuation. So as you see, we just want to trade 4-hour expansion candles away from the high of day, right? That's already an expansion candle. So as you see, we get expansion, consolidation, and then manipulation. We have SMT there. Boom. But what forms the high of this 4-hour candle at 2 a.m.? Let's go look. Let's go ahead and split the screen. So what would this be? A precision swing point and SMT, right? With that high. Right, so that forms the high of the 4-hour candle. So that's essentially 2-stage SMT, right? Because your first stage SMT is with the candle itself, the previous 4-hour candle. So think of that as like your key level or your higher time frame SMT or something like that, right? And your lower time frame SMT is just that swing point SMT, right? Or that PSP. That's your second stage SMT, confirming the high of the 4-hour candle. Does it support expansion? Yes. So you trade that away, right? And that confirms the high of the candle. Now, let's go into later on in the day. So what do we have here, guys? Let's pull up HO over here. This is a little bit of assets organization sequence. Dude, this dog, man. Come on. Alrighty. Okay. So, as we see on all assets, they all expand away, right? But what do we notice about this asset RB? It is the leading asset, meaning it traded into this low first. And what did it do? It failed to manipulate it, obviously. So what does that mean? The other assets should also trade into that low. What do we ideally want to see? Is it's ideal that you see the lagging assets actually turn to the weakest asset. You can see that via retracement size for one. We see a retracement here. Just via candle size, this one's a little bit smaller. And it also creates this failure swing here, or it sweeps out. So it's actually turning weaker, as you see. So essentially this candle here that you saw is just a large expansion creating SMT. So we can get a new phase of price. So that's why this candle here is just like used as like retracement almost, right? So we have expansion, consolidation, manipulation, expansion, retracement. This candle is used for continuation lower, right? To break that SMT for asset synchronization. You can also see how this asset switches to the weaker asset via wick size, shown by via wick size. See how this is a small wick compared to this asset that was previously weaker? Now what confirms the high of this 4-hour candle is a 2-stage PSP. Here's that precision swing point. So which asset should actually create the SMT itself? Obviously this one, right? Because this asset is opening near the previous hourly high. So we know that it should sweep it out, creating that 2-stage PSP. So as soon as we create the SMT, boom, you want to enter because you have a candlestick closure. Now that candle 3 is confirmed by SMT. So now you drop to the lower time frame. And what do we have here? The fractal model, essentially. All right, so there's your reversal. There's your continuation, that intra-candle CSD. And you can take it down to these lows, but ultimately to go and break that higher time from SMT. Does that make sense to everyone? And that's all the examples I have for you guys. If you have any questions, I will try to get to them all. And next stream, or another stream, we will probably go over SMT sequences. Shit's so confusing. Is it really? Who's confused right now? Is it actually confusing? What are you confused about necessarily? Because it's just two things basically. It's literally just the GxT model, which is very, very simple, right? Profiling a higher time frame, basically candle, with a lower time frame swing, right? Now you're just taking that swing formation and you're confirming the swing formation with a PSP or an SMT between swing points. That's it. That is it. And you see it at every single reversal retracement in the market. Can you start it for the giddy? Look at all my trades. They all have this type of sequence. And all you need is one of them, right? So I've taught you the types of two-stage SMTs in last stream. And all you need is one of them. Frag, I already leaked it to you on one of my props. This guy is always fucking... next session, please teach remaining SMT. So I've already taught the SMT. It's more, yeah, like asset synchronization. Advanced premium discount is super freaking easy. How you get in GxT Discord? Oh, you can just join. It's free. We will do a lecture on the couple markets probably. But T-Trade's put out a lesson today. Pretty good lesson today. Like that's like the basic, that's like the basics of it in a way. There's a lot more sequences that I have to show you guys. For example, like here's one of them. Like if we go to like, let's go to this triad over here. So the whole reason why I have this here, is it this? No, it's not this. Well, it is this. Here's like one of them, right? This one is probably what trips people out. This one. This sequence probably is like confusing to people. So let's go to example of, we already went over it this week on triads, right? But this is something I kept on seeing when I would back tests. So a lot of these things, guys, I learned by myself, just through looking at, through studying, right? Like literally. Am I on this right triad? Yeah. All right, so let's go over here. Let's go to this week in particular. So look what happens here, guys. So I want you to look at the opening price of this weekly candle in relation to this high. All right, look at this. Look how far gold is opening. Look how far away its opening price is from this high. Look how close it is on Euro and GBP. So what you're gonna see here is that, let's mark out the opening price on all the candles. It's right here. Here's the weekly open. Here's the weekly open. And here's the weekly open over here. So as soon as we hit this high, look where gold is in the range. It's super low, right? So there's only one of two things that can happen at this point, really. It's either gold then expands away, right? Because that would be advanced premium discount, essentially where this asset's in premium or EQ the range. These assets are above the high, right? Or we'll see this sequence here. There's a couple more that I haven't even taught yet, but here's one that you're gonna see a lot, right? Where the high that hit the, where the asset that hit the high will start to retrace, while this one starts to expand. And that is not strength switch. That is not a strength switching reversal signature until this asset reaches the high, right? So a lot of people are getting confused, and they think that's like strength switching, where like this asset is actually turning weaker, right? Well, this asset is just bullish. So they think this is a two-stage SMT, right, to go lower. But that is completely negated when you see that this asset is actually expanding. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see this asset expanding. You would want to see this asset here being like expanding, but maybe a little bit less, I guess, drastic as these assets, right? You want to see this maybe consolidating or also expanding, but these ones just expanding more, right? That would be a strength switch. That's valid. But when you see these assets just expanding like this, and this one's like retracing, that's so this asset can catch up to break the SMT, which actually forms this sequence here. That's probably confusing as shit. So do you see why I need to do a lecture on this? Because it's kind of confusing, right? So this is what you're seeing here. These assets start retracing, and then we form a sequential SMT there. And then boom, right? Look at the strength in this candle. You see how it's large? It's displacement, while these assets are again taking out the previous candle's low, right? Forming a small body. That's just so this asset can catch up. So what is this? Stabilization. Where is that? These assets here, it's essentially, right? They're just waiting for gold to manipulate. So they're just gonna be doing nothing really. Right? They're just gonna be like consolidating, right? They're not really doing anything, right? They're just waiting for this asset to manipulate. So this would be a weekly, daily, or sorry, daily, weekly GxT model, right? Because we have Friday manipulation, where it's a precision swing point. This is a bearish candle. This is a bullish candle. And the weekly candle is opening up within that. See how the weekly candle is opening up within that? So then we can expect Monday to expand. We have that precision swing point here. And then you know what's crazy? What's gonna confirm the high of the day here? So it's a reversal candle, as you see. So we don't have to wait for this. We don't really have to wait for this reversal candle to close because it supports expansion. But what it is a two-stage PSP. This is a bullish candle. This is a bearish candle. We do not take out that candle's high. What confirms the high of this 4-hour candle is a strength switch PSP. This candle here is bullish. This candle here is bearish, right? That is strength switching. So you're seeing it everywhere, right? It's probably confusing, but this is stuff that not a lot of people know about. I'm telling you, right? It's very good. Bro, shut up, dude. Like, goddamn. But that's what you see here, right? I traded a lot this week in particular because of that bearish bias, right? And then what would this be, right? So now that the weekly candle is aligned bearish because it's expanding with the opening price, now it cannot be a bullish expansion candle. It's going to form that key level to basically continue from. So now you have to decipher. This is where logic comes in. You have to decipher this PSP. What do you think it is? Is it going to be a retracement or reversal? Well, logically, it's going to be a retracement. Why? Because GBP is creating equal lows, so it still has a reason to go lower. But also the weekly candle does not support bullish expansion, right? So I would expect price to retrace into this gap and then reverse, right? Here you have a two-stage PSP with that gap. I actually traded this candle lower. This 4-hour reversal, it's a 10 a.m. reversal. What forms the high of this 4-hour candle is a 30-minute precision swing point. Here is a bullish candle. Here's a bearish candle. Bang, right? Now we can take that same logic we just did on the weekly time frame with the GxT continuation sequence. Here is the opening price of 10 a.m. At this point, it's already a reversal candle, expansion candle, because price opens high first, reversal, expansion away, creating a gap. So this retracement is misaligned with the 4-hour candle because they're not bearish candles, right? So we're waiting for a key level to be hit and a reverse or a swing formation to realign ourselves with the 4-hour candle, right? We also have all these lows. So now we want to see, we don't just use any swing point. We want to use, SMT and PSP, right? So that's what we get here. So as you see, this 1230 candle is bearish, and it does not take out this high, or it does take out this high. Over here is bullish, and we do not take it out, right? And then you get a two-stage cracking correlation via swing points. This is one of my favorite things to see, actually. And that's why I actually added on to this position. Yeah, I added on to this position, and I'm TPing here because this is a relevant low to this low. And this is a reversal day, right? This is the current day's low at this point, or where is it at? It's actually down here. So see how far price leaves away from the opening price. So we know this can't be a bearish expansion candle. Look how large that wick is. So you have to TP back within that range, right? So this is when I would expect the next day to just continue because we have a SMT and PSP. It is the leading asset. So you're gonna see that actually run the high again. That's fine, as long as the profile supports this signature. Because again, we're just creating another two-stage PSP, just because it's the strongest asset, right? It's gonna be the one that's retracing the deepest. It's gonna be the one that's actually sweeping highs and lows. So this is when we see this daily profile actually support that narrative, right? Where it opens high first, as you see, and then what are we forming, guys? A strength switch. I mean, you can't fucking make it up. I mean, you really can't. As you see, this candle here is now a two-stage PSP. So we also have lows to target. So then what do we get? What do you see here, guys? I mean, it's just like actually insane. So look at GBP at this point. So we've already taken out this low. And we clearly have failed to manipulate it. So what you're seeing here is this asset switching to the weakest asset, right? To actually catch up and break the SMT. So you can even see it in the candle like closes size. Like look at the body of this 6 a.m. candle when it was previously stronger. And look at the size of this candle over here. It's a lot smaller, right? The wick is a lot larger, a lot smaller wick. See that strength switch to catch up and break this SMT? Anyways, we're almost at an hour, guys. How do you know the asset fails to manipulate? When it just trades right through it, right? Trades right through the low. So if you look here, it traded into a low, but then we're just re-breaking the low essentially, right? You see how it trades way past the low, essentially. And also, like, T-Trades, go look up his definition of failure to manipulate. That's another good one. Yeah, it's just basically price trading past the higher low. Can you use the same concept? Yeah, absolutely. You can literally do this, like, you can trade the fractal model or the GxT model with like quarterly candles. So each quarter is represented by, the daily cycle is represented by a 6-hour candle. Within the 6-hour candle, you have 4 90-minute candles. You can trade it like the fractal model, literally. It's going to be the same thing. So look how you have this quarter here. It basically just reverses, right? So if the previous quarter reverses, what's the next quarter do? It should expand. Right? And then you have SMT between these quarters here, which is a two-stage PSP, which is SSMT, because each quarter represents the quarter's high and low. So when an asset runs out that candle's high or low, it's actually running out the previous quarter high or low. So it is sequential SMT. Do you ever use SMTs to confirm PSPs, or is that irrelevant? The best to use, best to use PSP to confirm in SMT. Do you ever use SMT? Yeah, so like, let's say let's say you hit a key level, there's no SMT, but there's a PSP. Well, I need a two-stage SMT, right? Because, let's say let me just do something real quick. Let's say we hit a key level like this. There's no SMT here, none, with this high here. But we do get a PSP. So that's cracking correlation number 1. So this is when I would confirm the PSP with a SMT with that PSP high, basically. Right? Does that make sense? So I actually watched my last stream, because that is the different types of two-stage SMTs. And all you need is one of them. It was good, T-Trades. It was good. Keep leaking. Yeah, let's start it, dude. Let's engagement farm. Yeah, guys, go watch that lesson that T-Trades did. It's good. Then one day I'll do a stream and go a little bit more in depth. Yeah, we'll go over. So confirm the 4 hour, like I pretty much did that. But entries is just the fractal model, bro. No, I don't have an asset sync, bro. Stream. If I did, it was like, I talk about it here and there, but I don't have a dedicated stream that goes like into all the scenarios and stuff like that. Yeah, to be honest, most people are better with you not going so deep. Yeah, I don't know. Some people want to see it. Some people are like confused. It's a bit weird. It's kind of a weird situation where it's like, I don't know. It's a bit weird because like if I talk about advanced stuff, then the people that are not advanced, they, you know, they're cooked. And then when I talk about, you know, the more simple things, it helps those newer traders, but you know, the advanced people are like, I've already seen this. So yeah, I gotta think that most people, it's trading by itself is already hard, right? That's for everyone. Like when they start out, it's confusing as hell. You know, when I first started learning this stuff, super confusing, dude. Like super confusing. Like I was like, what the fuck am I doing? You know? And I gotta remember, those people are in the position that I was once in. How many years have I been trading? About 6 years. What was your question, Suzu? Can you tag me again? I'll try to find it real quick. Yeah, you're gonna have to retag me or something. It's a lot of questions. 6.2 years. Dude, isn't that crazy that, like, I spent 4 or 3 years about, like, just absolutely cooked, right? Just going through, like, supply and demand. Like, dude, you think of it, I trade it. And I was just getting cooked, right? And then I just stumbled across T-Trade's YouTube video, or his channel. I was like, holy crap, this guy's good, man. Isn't that funny? Yep, the mentor of your mentor. In this sequence you just went over, you never want to trade the GC lower, but second one that hit the high for bear scenario, correct? If we are going lower, the moment GC was in. So are you talking about? You're talking about this scenario, where like it was the strongest asset, right? But then it turns weaker. You're talking about this? Because if not, I don't remember, bro. You're gonna start using indicator? That's funny. When you figure out triads, probably like maybe I don't know if it's a year ago or something like that. Like 10, 12 months ago. I don't know, something like that. But that's what really like jumped my trading, bro. It's just an extra like filter for price. Like you just know exactly what you're looking for, bro. It's actually just insane. A TGR course? Yeah, you're cooked. That's crazy. No, I was not in days. Guys, I have not learned from day. It's like day to me is like ICT. Like he just I know I yap, guys. I yap for sure. Like, look at my YouTube videos; they're all an hour long. I know I do, but at least I get like straight to the point. Like, I dedicate an hour to like something specific, dude. It's like, like ICT, bro. There's never just like, just I don't know, man. He just yaps. He doesn't get straight to the point. You know what I'm saying? You talk fast. I know I do. I'm sorry. But so does So basically, like ICT and Day are like the same to me. Like, it's just ridiculous. I can't learn from it, dude. Like, I can't do it. So I learned from Jacob. Speculates. I learned a lot from him. But dude, like 80% of the stuff, I do not use quarterly theory, guys. I literally use PSP and then fucking SSMT. That's it. And SSMT, half the time, the only thing I care about, dude, is just swing point SMT, like literally. And that's gonna be with the priest day, the priest week, high and low, and then basically sequential SMT, like daily cycle. That's like session highs and lows. But as long as you use SMT with relevant levels, it doesn't matter. You don't need this. You don't need it. Precision swing point, I think is a really good concept though. Really good. But that's about as far as I go into it, man. That's all I learned from it, really. Asset synchronization and stuff like that. Those are terms that quarterly theory throws around, but I haven't learned from them. I don't think they teach it like very in depth. At least I didn't learn it from Jacob very in depth at all. I don't do one-on-one with shit, bro. I don't do one-on-ones either. Yeah, that video didn't cover anything, Freg. Literally didn't cover anything. I'm not gonna lie. Yo, tell us how you became. Oh, I was just in T-Trade's Discord for a long time. I was just like helping people for free. Basically got helper role. And then, yeah, he just hit me up. What's up, T?
What up?
What it do?
What it do?
What it do?
Garrett was just in MMXM chat, like going crazy for like a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, giving this guy a helper role. And then I was like, yo, join the lens.
I was like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly how it went, actually.
Yeah, that's basically it. But it was like before you even had, because like after that, then I was like, all right, I'm pumping your social media.
Oh yeah, I didn't have any social media. I only had like YouTube. That's it. I don't even know if I had 1,000 subs.
Back testing streams out there, remember? You just posted your like back testing streams.
There's nothing too crazy. But yeah, man. What'd you do today?
Yeah, the thing about ICT posting the like Six Sister stuff is he always had it wrong. He's always like, yo, trade the lagging one, hoping it catches up. And I'm like, yo, I'm just going to trade the strongest or the weakest one.
Yeah, dude, I
don't know.
Watched a single fucking ICT video in my life. I'm not going to lie. How long have I been instructor? Shoot.
We'll just go back and look in the WAP and see when I can go look. When your first video, like your first live stream was.
It hasn't been a year yet.
No, not a year yet. It was like a year just not too long ago for me, so.
Yeah.
Let's see. I remember ripping your course with you.
Yeah.
Thing took ages. December 2024.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Lens 2.0, they said.
I mean, I don't know how much we're supposed to leak. We've been leaking a lot today on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like, I actually don't know how much I'm supposed to say. I'm not good with all that stuff.
Yeah, guys.
Because
AM.
AM's very particular, so I'm not trying to like overstep. Crazy.
That's insane.
That is that's crazy to say. AM beats T. No, it's just more advanced. Like it's gonna go more in depth on certain things. Smaller group stuff. More working closely. Like I don't know how to describe it all.
So like one-on-one ish, kind of, right? Kind of.
Kinda. It wouldn't be with like one-on-one because
Yeah.
that's
it's
like
yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah.
That's a
Max. Yeah, there's gonna be a max group size. Like it's gonna be a smaller group. Probably around 50-ish people. I don't know.
I don't think we even know that how much it is gonna be. I don't.
Yeah.
Fuck about now. But
We have a lot of work to do still. I haven't even done all the coursework yet.
God, we need to lock in, dude.
I know. I do need to
A lot of my
lock in.
slides are done, like low key.
AM's like, yeah, I got all my stuff done. I was like, I haven't started.
A lot of mine could be. It's pretty much done, bro. Like you just gotta figure out
Yeah.
like, what we're actually putting in and all that. But anyways, we're at an hour plus here, so
Hey, yo.
hopefully you guys enjoyed the lecture. Probably end it pretty soon.
When is team building? Garrett's gonna come over to Florida sometime.
Yeah, I'm actually moving in.
Guys, I got my office room he's gonna be moving into and living there.
The Lynn's house.
Yeah, the Lens house. Lens house is actually funny. We got it all set up.
That's actually dope.
Lens house. I was in Clearwater, Florida last week and it rained daily. Yeah, I was there too, and then I just went to Costa Rica. So.
All right, guys, I'm gonna end this recording at least.